Sure, it's an interesting one, and I didn't talk honestly. And you talk about finding yourself. I didn't talk about it until I wrote the first book, Fresh Customer Service.
Oh, really?
I never talked. I just never went to talk about it, and there was always this disconnect because people thought that I went to Harvard one day and got out, and I had this great success, and life was great, and then I had a lot of silver and gold spoons, and it was farther from the truth. I grew up with 10 brothers and sisters in Mississippi.
Wow.
And my mother was single, and we were raised on welfare. I mean, very limited amount of resources.
Yeah.
And in order to help the family and to help myself, I started selling candy at school.
Mm-hmm.
And I connected with this entrepreneur who had a store, and she would give me first dibs on all the new stuff that would come out, and I would rush and get it as soon as the truck delivered it off, and I would take it to school. And this is candy that people couldn't get anyplace else, along with some normal stuff. So people would come around and buy this, and I got in trouble with the principal because kids were missing class because the lines were too massive. So he took it from me. And punished me. And 2 months later, he started to sell candy on behalf of the school and asked me if I would help him. And I said, I'll sell yours as long as I can sell mine in the same container. So I had this plastic see-through bucket that kids could see my display and what I had to offer, and I sold some for the school as well. And that's how I got myself through high school and helped my family. So it was about that customer experience and giving customers what they wanted, but also being known as the candy man with the latest, greatest, and most interesting candy. And then started out and working in hotel and hospitality, and then went into oil and gas and had about 17 promotions after that, all because they understood my brand, and I had brand ambassadors in the company who would say, you have a problem, and I would go into companies when they were downsizing and reorging to help the organization stay focused, but also improve the skill sets of the people that could deliver in the next phase of the organization. So that's what my brand became known as, delivering fresh results during with people, even in turmoil. And that's how I got started.
Wow, you in the course of that, you described how you went into hotels and hospitality and jumped to oil and gas. I mean, that's not a bridge, that's a chasm. How did you get from one to the next?
So I started in hospitality in Little Rock, Arkansas, and needless to say, that was right out of business school. And I just didn't study in business school how to deal with people who didn't show up for work. I didn't know what to do. Like, what do you mean you're not going to come to work? You're on the schedule. So it was a very tough time for me. I'm running an airport operation with 7 different businesses, and I didn't understand the practicality around how do you make this work, and I wanted to be nice to people and realized that I needed to get a little steel in my spine. But that company wasn't right for me. It just wasn't aligned really where I was passionate, and I needed an intermediate step. So I had a good friend who was working in the financial industry. I ran over there and realized ethically I couldn't do that, and I had to get out of that. And this is, again, I had not planned properly. But I knew where my passion was, and this opening came up in West Palm Beach, Florida, to manage a gas station for a Fortune 5 company, and I said, West Palm Beach sounds fine. I can get out of this hellhole that I'm in now, and I'll make it work. And went through a really difficult time in the early stages of really seeing how I fit in and realized that it was about delivering results, and really said this is my passion and what I wanted to do.
Wow, that's you make a very large leap sound like a very small one.
But what I did is I didn't become a victim of my circumstances. I realized that I was responsible for getting to where I wanted to be, and though the job I didn't want to do, I didn't let that show. I chalked it up and said, I'm going to give it 120%. Though it's not what I'm really passionate about, this is a means to get to where I'm passionate about, and I have to deliver and get the proof points that I know how to deliver results in the most tumultuous situation, because I want that to be part of my brand.
Mm. And there's also a really neat lesson in there, too, because even as you pointed out, you didn't really have much of a plan. You didn't let that deter you. You still went through the process anyway of trying things. I mean, it's a little bit, I don't know what the right word is. It's disconcerting, perhaps, or it's uncomfortable to be trying to change careers and try new stuff out. But you did it anyway. And in the course of doing that, stuff started to emerge. Opportunities started to emerge that didn't exist before. So even though you didn't have a plan, maybe in some ways it worked out pretty well anyway.
I think not not terribly excited about where I am. And the good thing, the exciting thing is I really practice what I preach. It's about staying fresh and relevant, and I'm doing something every single day around how do you keep the brand fresh? How do you respond to the changing economy? How do you change to the changing needs and wants and desires of people? And that has kept me going. Is that I never stop keep making myself fresh and relevant.
So speaking of fresh and relevant, what's fresh and relevant for Michael Brown right now? What do you see in your immediate horizon, looking, say, 3 to 5 years out?
So the 3 to 5 year plan is one of the things about fresh passion and fresh customer service and all the things that I'm doing is that people are really hurting and they need they need the educational aspect of it. They can buy the book and they can read the book, but there's some fundamental skills development in really understanding passion and understanding how to run a business and understanding a corporation how to really take the front line to the next level. And that you can only do so much of that with a 1-hour speech on stage or a workshop. So the next phase is around opening up the Fresh Results Institutes, which will be the incubator of all the intellectual capital and give people a longer time to be able to absorb and to practice what they're learning. So that's the 3 to 5 year horizon that quite excited about.
So Fresh Results Institute, is this like a degree of higher education or what is this?
It will be a learning center. It'll be an institute where you will come and you'll get certified. An organization can bring their people there. There'll be a nonprofit arm where community organizations or small entrepreneurs who are trying to start out can come and get a week-long series on how to start a business, and we bring in other business owners who can have mastermind groups that talk about the problems that they're having. Because oftentimes when you arrive there, it's a lonely place at the top, at the middle, wherever you are. And to be able to have that safe haven where you can come with like-minded people to help you stay fresh and relevant is one of the pieces that we're really excited about, because it'll give entrepreneurs, whether you're a barber or someone who's opening up a large corporation as a CEO, where can you come with like-minded people and be able to have these mastermind sessions and be able to really connect back to your passion and stay connected.
So in a sense, it sounds like it's a combination of social circles combined with guruing and mentoring, and how mentoring ties in.
Learning, yes.
Yeah, and mentoring is so powerful, isn't it? Have you had mentors in your life that have influenced you heavily?
I have. I had a lot of mentors early on, but I've learned the process on how to screen through, because not every mentor is a good mentor for you.
How do you pick one?
I really look at my brand and what area I want to strengthen my brand in, and I want to connect with someone who's been there, who's done that, and also someone that I can give back to. I don't believe in one-sided mentoring. I think that's a bit selfish. So it's really about how can we help each other. There's a even give and take. You have something that I need, you have something and I have something you need, and the relationships are much more healthy that way.
That's a very interesting and quite healthy approach, I think. How do you identify for somebody that let's say you've identified someone who has been there, done that, as you say, and they're doing the thing that you want to be doing. How do you identify for them what you might be able to give to them?
You know, it's literally, I don't have to, folks come to me, so I haven't had to seek that out.
Oh, okay.
It's really around my ability to extract value from frontline folks, for example, in the corporate world, is how do I, as a middle manager, CEO, connect to my frontline so that I can infuse that into the strategy that I'm building.
Okay, all right. Well, that's nice then that they're coming to you. That means you're really doing the attracting.
Yes, it's an exciting thing.
All right. Well, before we lose you here, I think what we want to do is make sure that people can find out more about you. So, first of all, do you have a website where people can learn more about the Fresh Passion and Fresh Results Institute and all that kind of thing?
If you go to myfreshbrand.com, MYF like Frank, RESH brand.com, myfreshbrand.com, it's a great site because on that site you can sign up for 52 personal branding tips where every week you'll get a tip on how do you take your brand to the next level, how do you develop your brand, and so if you just go to myfreshbrand.com and you can go from there and connect with us on Facebook and Twitter, and all of that is right on that site.
Okay, yeah, and we'll make sure that we tie in those links to the article where this gets published as well. The other thought that occurs to me is the Fresh Results Institute, it's still under development. Is that something that people can participate in some meaningful way now, or do they just have to wait?
They'll have to wait. The participation with us now is through My Fresh brand, and you can connect with us with the 52 tips.
Okay.
Our social platform and our blogging is quite active, and we're connecting with thousands of people across the world, actually, in that form. And it's the best way to connect with us and stay in connection with the fresh material that we're putting out there.
Okay, so there is actually a community actively at work there. So even if there isn't an official institute in place, they can at least get a taste for what the institute's going to be like now just by interacting in that community.
Oh yeah, and certainly we have coaching programs, and we have, as you talked about, a list of places. It's not only the Fortune 500s that we work with. We work with a lot of small business owners and individuals who come in through our coaching program who just need a session on I really identify my passion, Michael, and how do I package this up. So there's a little bit for everybody, and we believe that everyone should have the opportunity to have a maximized personal, professional, and economic life.
You also mentioned nonprofits earlier. What kinds of nonprofits do you tend to work with, and what kinds of results have you achieved there? I imagine that's been similar but different. Nonprofits can be a different animal from for-profit businesses and individual careers.
Believe it or not, I started in nonprofit when I was 13. So
Did you really?
You can imagine the nonprofit world that I was a part of was turned on their head when I decided to go to corporate America. They thought that was the most evil thing any human being could do. And my basic thing was, I need to go and make money so that I could give more back. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And they were fine with that. Yeah. But we work with a lot of universities. We have you would have seen those on our sites, where we really say, we go in and work with their students and their deans and their presidents around. You have to get your students branded between this freshman and senior year, because they need to be on the marketplace to be able to get a maximized return. One, so that it will speak good of your organization as a university, but also that they can have a better life. They can give back and they can recommend other students to you. But you're responsible for giving them every opportunity to develop a brand here. So we do quite a bit of work with universities and helping their students and helping their curriculum.
I think nonprofits are another area where branding often gets lost, and people in that field forget that they have to do branding as much as anybody else if they want to develop what they're trying to do and have more of an impact that they're trying to have on the community at large, just because they need to have that presence out there so people know who they are and what they're about.
You're absolutely right. I think the biggest mistake that nonprofits make is they truly believe they're nonprofit in every sense. You're a nonprofit from an IRS perspective, but you still need to deliver a profitable experience to your folks, and you need to stay in business. And the only way you stay in business and to attract funders is that they understand the brand that you have is helping people to have a better life.
Right.
And so oftentimes we have people who are very passionate about helping people that they don't understand how to run the operation as a business.
And that's so important. I mean, my own business, I actually did a lot of work with nonprofits, particularly in the earlier years. I went out as an entrepreneur after working in the corporate world. I started part-time in the mid-1990s and then went full-time in 2002. And the transition, obviously, is a difficult transition, but one of the things that I found made it easier was if I was going after nonprofits, because they were the ones who needed the most help, particularly since what I do is mostly online stuff, and they needed help getting online, so it became very important. But as the financial crisis came in 2008, a lot of them went by the boards, and of course it affected me terribly, but it affected many of them by just disappearing. And the ones that survived, it's been a real struggle for them to survive. How does branding help a nonprofit that is in survival mode? What's important about branding for somebody like that?
So again, it goes back to this very simple piece. Who's my target audience? What do they need, want, and desires, and how can we deliver? You have to be fresh and relevant to your constituency. So if your constituency is about finding jobs and your programs don't deliver to that, well, you're not going to attract the fundings to help people find jobs.
Right.
You know, you might have something that's great that's, for example, that we're helping people do knitting, and it's a way for our seniors to have a great time. That's a very noble program, and I wouldn't advocate getting rid of it. But is there another pain out there that you could be addressing that will help you get funding so that you can do the mission of the knitting as well as helping people move forward in their lives with a job?
Well, Michael, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for spending the time with us, and we wish you well with the book. When did the book first come out?
On January 2nd of this
So
year.
it's pretty new. It's very new. I hope it's doing well for you, and I hope it continues to grow. And I hope it also furthers your career, too, because you've got some very special skills and gifts to give to people.
And thank you so much for the opportunity.
We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Spread joy, spread it around, all around the town. Spread joy, spread it around, all around